Hello, hello, and welcome to the Tip of the Ice-Burgh podcast, brought to you, as always, by Inside the Penguins. I'm your host, Nick Berlansky, joined, as always, by Nick Horwat, and the Pittsburgh Penguins offseason continues to roll along. Horwat, we are, 3 months away from September? Is that where we're at right now? So 3 months away from the start of next season. Still many, many answers to be had when it comes to the Pittsburgh Penguins, especially on their roster. But the one thing that we've seen the last couple of seasons is that the Pittsburgh Penguins always have a prove-it player. Usually it is a veteran that is brought in on a one-year contract to prove their worth, to prove that they are worthy of remaining in the National Hockey League. If you look back at 2020-21 season, that player was Cody Ceci. He came onto the Pittsburgh Penguins on a one-year, $1.25 million contract, played preliminarily on a D pairing with Mike Matheson, which we all thought was going to be absolutely horrendous. And it turned out to be our second best D pairing that entire season. Earned him a massive deal with the Edmonton Oilers, 4 years at $3.25 million a season. But a great prove-it year for Cody Ceci with the Penguins. Then you look back at this past season. I say it was Danton Heinen. 1 year, $1.1 million contract, 76 games played, 18 goals, 33 points, and 15 even strength goals. I would love to see Danton Heinen back, but I do feel like it's probably not going to happen because he proved that he could do it. He was almost a 20-goal guy as a preliminarily third-line, sometimes even fourth-line player, and I'm sure he's going to command a decent pay increase. So I'd love to see him back. If he's not, it would make a little bit of sense to me. So if you want to see why bringing him back would be so great, go check out our buddy Jacob Puntori's article on InsideThePenguins.com on why the Penguins need Danton Heinen back for next season. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'd love to see it happen, and Jacob outlines all the reasons why. So that begs the question, Horwat, and I know I haven't given you a second to speak here, just went straight into it. Who is the Penguins prove-it player for 2022-23? Is he already on the roster? Is he a free agent? Is there any names that you have in mind?
Names that I have in mind. Man, it's hard to just predict the future on stuff like this. But I think, for what it's worth, Jesse Puljujarvi is a guy I have an eye on. Mm-hmm. Now, I think a trade might need to be involved there, or if the Oilers let him walk, you can pick him up in free agency. There's a lot of things that could go on there. But that has been a skittish relationship with him in Edmonton for a long time now. We can think back to the double hip surgery that it was almost Jack Eichel. The team almost didn't let him get it. There was a bunch of nonsense going on there. He popped back in this season and played fairly decently. I wrote a whole story on this, that why not give him the shot, because a lot of times what players need is just a change of scenery. Mm-hmm. Why not take the flyer? Take the 1 year chance on it, just see if something comes from it, because at this point, he's a former 4th overall pick, I think, 3rd or 4th, something stupid high, that clearly has not panned out to that level of production. Mm-hmm. But if the Penguins, no matter what they decide to do with guys like Letang and Malkin, what the cap space may look like, you can get a guy like Jesse Puljujarvi for cheaper. He can be your depth option now. He could play alongside Danton Heinen. He could play underneath Danton Heinen if he needs to. Mm-hmm. There's a solid depth piece there that, again, it's not the 4th overall pick level anymore. But if we need a small depth piece like a Danton Heinen type who can come in for a year, prove it to himself and prove it to a team that he can still do something in this league, that's a perfect situation for him, especially coming off of pretty decent year. I'm trying to remember the numbers. I just have to find them. But I think he's got a great chance at pulling that sort of thing off. Mm-hmm. He's primed for just new territory and making it look easy. He's a huge kid. He's also only 24, I think. I have to find all the stuff now. 24, just turned 24. He's 6'4", 201. He's a tall kid, so he can even be a net front presence if you need him to. Mm-hmm. Banging in 14 goals and 22 assists this past season for 36 points. Again, that is not 4th overall caliber, but I think we're all past him hitting that potential just because of the start of the career he had. It was kind of very up and down, and maybe that was maybe that was the organization's fault. But regardless, it's not much you can look past anymore. I think the thought of him hitting that 4th overall potential is gone, but him being a solid depth piece in this for next season, being a Danton Heinen type where it's come in for a year, prove it in some way, shape, or form that you can still cut it and go from there.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's primed for that. So my first option would be, because you can do this regardless of what the roster looks like, a Jesse Puljujarvi type. If I had to pick someone from within, it's a little harder. Maybe P.O. Joseph.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and honestly, for him, I kind of put him in the category of prospects that haven't had their chance yet, because even though P.O. Joseph has played a couple of games, just a handful, really, maybe 2 handfuls of games with the Pittsburgh Penguins, he hasn't really been given that shot to be able to be like, all right, this is your prove-it year. You did something before. Mm-hmm. You kind of fell off the rails a little bit, but you need to get propped back up. You're going to get an opportunity here. Like I said, it was great for Danton Heinen. It was great for Cody Ceci. If I'm looking inside the Penguins organization, which is where I think this guy is going to come from, and I can logically see it happening, he is a restricted free agent right now for the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's Alex Nylander. The Penguins initially acquired Nylander back from the Blackhawks in exchange for Sam Lafferty. He's a restricted free agent, but he had a really good season down in Wilkes-Barre after being acquired by the Penguins. 44 games played. He had 30 points, including 14 goals. I think this is a nice option for the Penguins to potentially be a 3rd liner to start out the season next year. He's a guy that was drafted high by the Buffalo Sabres, lost favor in Buffalo after playing a couple years there, never really was given an opportunity to truly succeed in Chicago. He was actually force-fed to the top of the lineup when he was not ready, which is even worse than not giving a guy an opportunity in the first place. And now he came to Pittsburgh and they slow played it. They said, you're going to play out this year. It was injury relief, but also he needed that confidence again. And it seemed like he started to gain it in Wilkes-Barre last season. I would be surprised if they didn't get him back under contract for next season. And I think that Alex Nylander is a perfect candidate to be the Penguins' prove-it player next year.
You're right. I didn't even think of a guy like that. Well, that's sad because I should be thinking of a guy like him because he has NHL caliber. Again, he may not hit that 8th overall potential anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the same draft, isn't it? As the Puljujarvi one?
Puljujarvi?
It is. Sure. Oh, man.
Yeah, there's a parallel right there. We didn't plan that.
Right. No, that's wild. And they're also only like a month apart. Alex Nylander is only a month older. But we've seen Alex Nylander play in the NHL before. Again, he was forced into the top line in Chicago, like you said. But as a 21-year-old playing in Chicago, still picking up 26 points isn't terrible. Mm-hmm. He just needs the right scenery. And you're right. Pittsburgh might be a good option for that. I remember when we got him, I thought suddenly he jumps to the front of the line at call-ups because he has the NHL experience. We've seen it before. Mm-hmm. Clearly he didn't know. And I think he should have been. I think he should have been first in line as the first guy in, just because if we were using the taxi squad still, I think that's probably where he would have sat because he has this NHL experience. He still has time to develop. He's only 24. Mm-hmm. We just need to see where it goes. I think pulling him in can do it. He doesn't have much development left, I guess. So the taxi squad would have been a good spot for him. I think he should have been the first one in rather than, I'm not saying he's better or worse than Radim Zohorna, but he definitely has a bit more of a
pedigree,
bit more of a resume, bit more of a resume. Has been there, has played with big names before, can probably do it again. I like where this can go. I like where the idea of Alex Nylander can go. I hope he sticks around too, because I do want to see him get used here in Pittsburgh. So I like that idea too. I didn't even think of it because, again, I shouldn't have forgotten he was on this team.
Yeah, well, I can't give myself all the credit for thinking of that because it came up in a conversation I had with our buddy and friend of the show, Richard Blosser. I was on his series Game Over talking about the Penguins being eliminated from the playoffs. And he brought it up because he covers the Hershey Bears. So clearly he has an eye on the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. And he said, listen, a guy like Nylander, he played really well. I mean, he was a terror to the Hershey Bears this season. And I think what you said there is, you expected him to almost be that first call-up once the Penguins acquired him, because that's really what Sam Lafferty was. He was the go-between guy between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. So the fact that Nylander wasn't, I think it is just kind of a little peek into what Hextall's plan was for him, because it's not like he wasn't performing. He was. I think what Hextall saw was, listen, in Chicago, he was force-fed to the NHL. He was force-fed to the top six. It was not going well. He needed a factory reset, basically. And I think that's what Hextall gave him last year. A factory reset, go down to the AHL, figure his game out a little bit, find some success there. Like I said, 14 goals, 30 points. And then next season, he's going to have an opportunity. Now, I'm not saying he's guaranteed a spot on this team, right, but I'm sure that they're going to sign him back, and he's guaranteed to at least have a chance to make that opening night lineup. And a third line winger, that's a perfect spot for a guy like Alex Nylander, who has offensive upside, who has NHL experience, who has that pedigree as a top 10 NHL draft pick. He just hasn't been able to put it all together yet. And that's exactly what these Penguins prove-it players have been. Cody Ceci was not given the correct opportunity. He was force-fed to the top pairing in Toronto. Comes to the Penguins, they use him properly. Boom, he has one of the best seasons of his career. Same thing with Heinen. It's not that he was being incorrectly used in Anaheim. It's just the system didn't fit him. He comes to the Penguins, gets the opportunity, boom, almost has a 20-goal season. Nylander, I think, fits this mold absolutely perfectly.
You're right. He could just fit right in. It's not so much that these are bad players that we're acquiring, and like you said, in the Ceci or Heinen situation, it is we're putting them into we're using them correctly. You know, Ceci, his issue with Ottawa and Toronto is he was just getting overplayed. Toronto had him on the first line. What are you doing?
Yeah.
That is not where he goes. That has never been his position. We popped him down to the third. He started playing much better. He had to move up to the second, where he still played fairly decently, so we enjoyed that. Danton Heinen, I don't know exactly how he was getting used in Anaheim, but again, that could have just been the system and the very not good team around him. Because he played fine in Boston. And that's the Danton Heinen we got. We got the Boston Danton Heinen. I said before the season, if you could dig that clip up, I said before the season started, if we can get the Boston Bruins Danton Heinen, that is a successful acquisition. And so far, so good. He's played more along the lines of the Boston Danton Heinen than the Anaheim one. So it's the system that we're playing him in. It is not about getting bad players or acquiring guys that have had skill sets before, but it is putting the correct guys in the correct system. That is what has worked before. And it's hard to tell as us as outsiders kind of looking at, we don't know exactly what the Penguin system is. You know, we don't know the ins and outs, the X's and O's that are told to these guys every day at practice, but we can see enough on the ice to kind of predict what would fit in well and just not overplaying guys in the Ceci case, or in the Heinen case, just not overplaying them. And then if you need to, underplay them when they're underperforming.
Yeah.
So it's about picking in the right guys for the right system. Nylander might be able to fit, and if you use Puljujärvi correctly, I don't know. I don't remember where he played in Edmonton this past playoffs.
Well, they were all over the place because they had Draisaitl, McDavid together. They had Draisaitl, McDavid apart. Their lineup was all over the place this postseason.
But you can remember when he started playing in the NHL, he was utilized. I mean, I'd utilize him too. He's a 4th overall pick.
Yeah. And
then that's Seward. So maybe he's just a third line guy here in Pittsburgh. Again, I don't remember exactly where he played because Edmonton's such a weird team. You said 2 names, and yet they had 3 more that can really perform in Evander Kane, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and Zach Hyman now. So maybe Puljujärvi was bumped to the bottom 6 just because of the weird lineup they have now. But maybe that's where he's best utilized.
When I look at the list of free agents on Cap Friendly, there's only one other name that really jumps out to me, and it's not really a guy that I would say is a really good fit for the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's not a guy that I think is a really great fit for the prove-it player, but it's a guy that if the Pittsburgh Penguins acquired him, it would kind of go along the same lines. And that's Callie Yarncroak. He was taken in the expansion draft by the Seattle Kraken, then shipped off to the Calgary Flames. He's 30 years old. He plays every forward position, which is exactly what Mike Sullivan likes to see. He likes those guys that can go from center to wing and can go on either wing. It would help with flexibility in the lineup. But he only had 30 points last season in 66 games. That's a decent number. But when you look at a guy like Callie Yarncroak, he was a player that at times was thought to be potentially a top 6 caliber guy for the Nashville Predators. And if he's only scoring 30 points and 12 of them being goals in 66 games, that's a lot more the lines of a bottom 6 guy. Now, is that just what Callie Yarncroak is? Maybe. But can the Penguins try to get a little bit more juice out of him, similar to what they did with Heinen? Get him closer to a 20-goal guy? Maybe that is a player that you could do that. And also last season, he made $2 million against the cap. So a 30-point season, a 30-goal season would be different. 30-point season, you're not really going to be commanding much more money and a bigger raise than $2 million. So it's a cheap option. It's somebody that I wouldn't be surprised if he was on the Penguins' radar. I don't know if he is because I don't have that. Yeah. Haven't heard his name. But when it comes to the parameters of the Penguins prove-it player, I think he fits in. Not as well as Alex Nylander, but I think he fits in as well.
He could fit in, yeah. It's a name that we're familiar with. Mm-hmm. Like you said, he plays all 3 of the forward positions. That's usefulness. That is utility.
Yeah.
I like the name. And as I flip through the free agents, there's a ton of notable, not high caliber forwards, but a ton of notable forwards that can fill in anywhere and slip into all kinds of spots on any lineup. Mm-hmm. Just to, I guess, quickly rattle off a few. Again, not the high-ranking ones, not the Forsbergs, not the Gaudreaus, but there's who did I see? I see there's an Andrew Kopp out there. If anybody wants to take the flyer, an old man Paul Stastny. I don't know why I almost said Ricard Raquel. If he wasn't here, yeah, Ricard Raquel. Victor Rask will be out there. Ryan Strome will be out there. There's a bunch of middle road guys that are gonna be available. So. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, it doesn't have to be the splash deal for us. As much as I want to see us make a splash deal, guy or two like that, or even below guys that I just said there, solid options for a team like this.
The type of play, the type of player that I'm expecting Ron Hextall to sign is the exact players that he's been signing since he came over. Getting a guy like Mark Freeman off of waivers, signing guys like Heinen and McGinn last year. A guy like Tyler Mott is probably the most expected angle that Hextall is going to go. If you go historically, he's looking for guys like a Tyler Mott, maybe an Andrew Kopp. I think that's still a little not highbrow, but it's a little bit more of an unexpected move if they bring in a guy like that. Listen, I'd love Andrew Kopp. I really enjoyed watching him in Winnipeg, but at the end of the day, I think the best option for a lot of these guys, especially if they bring in one of those high guys that you said, Gaudreau, Forsberg, which is very out of the realm of possibility. But even if they sign a Malkin back and a Letang back, you're going to have to rely on, as we've said all offseason, the young guys. And part of that young core, maybe even the guy that's leading the charge, is Alex Nylander. I like Drew O'Connor, and I think he's going to make the roster, but Drew O'Connor's a 4th liner. If you're looking for somebody to go higher in the lineup and be that guy that's already in the organization and is a proven player, I think Alex Nylander fits that bill.
You're totally right. Totally right about that. Again, filling from within is always good too. Mm-hmm.
So we're going to take a quick break. When we return, we're going to play a little Name That Stat Line. It's a segment that we like to bring up every once in a while because 1, when there's nothing else going on, it's fun to play. And 2, it's nice to look back at some of the performances of Penguins past. So we're going to do that right after this commercial break. Gentlemen, Father's Day is just around the corner, and our friends at Manscaped are here to ensure all father figures out there are looking daddy material this June. Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0, which includes their signature Lawnmower 4.0, is the perfect bundle to tackle any and all old man hair from head to toe. This right here is no dad joke. Treat him and yourself and join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code ALLSTEELERS at manscaped.com. Trust me, his dad bod will thank you. The Stanley Cup Finals are almost here, but let's keep the playoff beards above the belt this season. Manscaped is designed with fathers in mind, and the Performance Package 4.0 is here just in time for your pop's special day. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and travel bag to hold all his goodies. But wait, there's more. Manscaped just launched their brand new Boxers 2.0 that, dare I say, are the best boxers ever. Whether he's mowing the lawn, taking out the trash, or golfing in the sun, these moisture-wicking boxers breathe without breaking a single sweat. Dads, buy this for yourself. Sons, buy this for you and your dad. Ladies, buy this for your man. And doggy daddies, you deserve this treat too. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code ALLSteelers at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code ALLSteelers. Shake what your mama gave you? Nah, shake what your daddy gave you. Welcome back to the Tip of the Ice-Burgh podcast, brought to you as always by Inside the Penguins. We're going to finish off this episode, a little bit of a shorter episode, with a little Name That Stat Line, a segment in which I bring a stat line in a certain year, and Horwat gets 3 guesses to try and attempt to figure out which Pittsburgh Penguin I'm talking about. He does also get a couple hints, but we all try to do it without the hints, right, Horwat? Always try to do it. So the last time we did it, I'm pretty sure you were 3 for 3. It's been a while.
It's been a minute, yeah.
But this one is because we're almost to the end of the Stanley Cup Finals and Stanley Cup Playoffs. So this is the Stanley Cup Playoffs edition of Name That Stat Line. These stat lines are from the entirety of a playoff season for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And just to keep it fun, all 5, count them 5 of them this time, will be one from each of the Pittsburgh Penguins Stanley Cup championship victories. So we're going to mix them up, throw them in the scrambler, and we're going to start with 1992 Horwat. The stat line is 21 games played, 13 goals, and 28 points in the 1992 Stanley Cup playoffs, in which the Pittsburgh Penguins won the Stanley Cup over the Chicago Blackhawks.
You said 21 games?
21 games played.
How many did we play that year?
That
had
was
to be
the
all
year,
21.
That was the year the Pittsburgh Penguins won, I believe, 11 straight games.
Yeah.
To finish.
Would they have hit 10 before then? Yeah, that has to be the entire series, the entire playoffs, and all 21. 13 goals. I'm just gonna go Jaromir Jagr.
That is incorrect. You have 2 more guesses. Jaromir Jagr would have been an option, but I didn't want to go that easy.
Not that easy. Ron Francis.
That's also not correct. You have 1 guess left. And you have a couple of hints if you want to use either of them.
No, because the hints give it away, and I like some challenges. Maybe I'll use hints later.
Yeah. So you got 1 guess left. 1992, 21 games played, 28 points, and 13 goals.
The thing is, so I'm assuming he played in every game, so it's taking Lemieux out of it for me. Because I just don't assume Lemieux played every game in any playoff.
That's probably a pretty safe assessment.
In 92, so I'm not throwing Recchi in there, but maybe it was Rick Tocchet.
Rick Tocchet is your final answer?
Yes.
Rick Tocchet is also incorrect.
Okay.
The 1992 playoffs, 21 games played, 13 goals, 28 points. Kevin Stevens.
That makes more sense. That makes a ton of sense. If you would have thrown penalty minutes in there, it would have nailed it.
Here's the thing. When you go over a point a game, usually you think, it could be a lot of players. But with the 1991 and 92 Penguins, there's a lot of players that went over a point a game. So Kevin Stevens being one of them, that was the correct answer. Horwat, you're 0 for 1. Hopefully, we'll see if you at home, if you're listening to this and you're trying to play along and be honest about it, let us know how you did on this. Let us know if you got it correctly in 3 guesses. So, Horwat, currently you're 0 for 1. Let's move to 2009 then. The 2009 Stanley Cup playoffs, the Pittsburgh Penguins ran the gauntlet for the first Stanley Cup championship of the Sidney Crosby era. They beat the Detroit Red Wings in 7 games. The anniversary of that was about a week and a half ago. So in that playoffs, this player played in 24 games, had 14 goals, and 36 points.
Okay, so 24 is all of the games again.
Mm-hmm.
How many? Wait, read that one more time.
24 games, 14 goals, and 36 points.
36 and 24. Is that Malkin's Conn Smythe victory?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Evgeny Malkin did have that stat line, 24 games played, 14 goals, 36 points, including 1 assist in Game 7 against the Detroit Red Wings, taking home the Conn Smythe Trophy that postseason. So you're 1 for 2.
Stupid stat line. I think it was 36 points in 2009 against, you gotta remember, he blew up in the Carolina series. It was only 4 games.
Yeah. He had a hat trick for sure in one of those games.
Game 2.
I believe it was. Yeah, because it was on home ice at the Igloo at that point.
Yeah, because he beat Matt Cullen on the faceoff.
Oh, man. Always nice to go back and watch those. I don't know. Maybe I should watch Pittsburgh is home again.
They just tweeted about it not that long ago.
That might be why I thought about it.
Yeah.
But so you're 1 for 2. Let's go back into the 90s. Let's talk about 1991, the first ever Stanley Cup championship for the Pittsburgh Penguins, taking down the Minnesota North Stars. Everybody obviously remembers Lemieux's goal on Ceci, the iconic goal. This player, however, had 24 games played in that season, that playoff season, scored 10 goals, but had 34 points.
In 24 games. Again, I believe that's all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So again, not Lemieux.
Yeah. It is not Mario Lemieux. Plus, I basically just said it wasn't Mario Lemieux in my speech there.
Yeah. plus Mario is just the easy answer.
Yes.
Okay, so he's 34 points in 24 games, and it's not Kevin Stevens because I doubt you use the same player twice. So I'm gonna go back to the old well of Jaromir Jagr.
No, it is not Jaromir Jagr.
You know what? I'm gonna say Mark Recchi because I didn't say him in the last one.
It is Mark Recchi.
Look at that.
The Wrecking Ball had 10 goals and 34 points in 24 games played. That was the first ever Stanley Cup playoff season for Mark Recchi, but his 3rd season overall for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He went on to win Stanley Cups with 3 different franchises. Horwat, bonus question. Can you name the other 2 teams Mark Recchi won a Stanley Cup with?
Boston and Carolina.
There you go. That was an easy one. You don't actually get bonus credit, but you are 2 for 3 in this Name That stat line. Let's move up to 2017. The 2017 Stanley Cup Finals. Of course, the Pittsburgh Penguins taking down the Nashville Predators on a great back-to-back performances from Matt Murray, who just popped up as a buyout candidate on Frank Saravalli's Daily Faceoff article. So maybe Matt Murray a return to Pittsburgh? Let's hope.
No, no thanks.
That's a hard no. But in that 2017 postseason, this player played in 25 games, scored 13 goals, and totaled 21 points.
21 and you said 25?
21 points in 25 games played.
We played 25 games in that playoffs. Oh,
yes.
Yeah. 7, 7, 6, 5. Yeah. Ooh. 21 points and 25.
Mm-hmm.
Jake Guentzel.
It was Jake Guentzel.
I totally forgot the number of goals you said. That should have been the giveaway.
The 13 goals?
13.
Yes. Yeah, your guesses for that one was actually probably the best guesses. You probably would have gotten. Would you have gotten this answer correctly if I would have said played in the USHL for the Sioux City Musketeers in 2012-13?
No.
Would that have helped at all?
Oh, maybe if I would have thought deeply about it.
And then the second was son of a college hockey coach.
There it is.
You would have gotten that one.
Coach's son.
Coach's son, Jake Guentzel. That was his first ever season. That's why he became playoff Jake Guentzel.
Yep.
And you're 3 for 4. Out of nowhere, 75 or 750 batting average, if that's how you want to play it. So, one left. Can you continue this winning streak? You've gotten 2 in a row. Horwat, can you finish it off on a high note? The 2016 Stanley Cup Playoffs. The Pittsburgh Penguins returned to prominence against the San Jose Sharks, winning it in the Shark Tank. 24 games played. 4 goals. 18 points.
4 goals, 18. All right, 4 goals.
Mm-hmm.
Who didn't score a lot? I'm thinking defenseman. Because you said 18 points and 20. Chris Letang.
It is not Chris Letang, no. And you do have hints. You haven't used a hint yet.
I will use one of them on this one just because I want to hear a hint. Okay.
Your hint is this player has now played in 13 NHL seasons.
Has now played in 13. 4 13. What year is it now? 2022.
I don't know. You're trying to subtract to get to his draft year, or are you somebody that knows people based on draft year?
I don't know if that really helps.
Well,
it's played in 13. Yeah, because I can't do math right now.
That would be the 2009 NHL draft.
2009. Okay. I don't know why my head is with me like 2001. What?
Oh wait,
That's
no,
right.
2008, because technically we haven't had the draft yet.
Yeah. 4 goals though.
Only 4 goals, but he did have 18 points.
Yeah, he did. Damn. It's slightly hard. Who was on that team?
Yeah. There was a lot of players on that team, 20 to be exact, that usually played.
Okay, 4 goals. I just need to go back to the well here.
Yeah, you got 2. You got 2 left. You do have another hint.
Dead giveaway hint.
It is the dead giveaway hint.
I'll take it. Dead giveaway hint. I don't want to keep running this long. You don't need to see me sitting here struggle.
He played on the famous HBK line in 2016.
Was it Phil Kessel?
It was not Phil Kessel.
Okay.
Phil Kessel had 2 goals in Game 6 against the Capitals. So
yeah, I know. That's why I was like, "There's
4.
no." When you said 4 goals,
yeah,
I immediately took out all 3 of those guys.
Interesting, because guess what? Now you have 1 guess left and 2 players left on that line.
Yeah. Damn. 4 goals. Okay, who scored the least on that? Nick Bonino.
It was Nick Bonino.
Okay.
I don't think he scored the least. I think he scored more than Carl Hagelin. I don't think Hagelin had more than 4 goals. We'll have to go back and check the tapes on that one. But that is Nick Bonino. Only 4 goals, one of which being the famous Bonino overtime winner against the Washington Capitals in Game 6. And Horwat, just like that, you got 4 out of 5 correct. Are you happy with your performance? Do you think you could have done a little bit better? Do you regret not saying Kevin Stevens in the first one? That's the only one that separated you from a perfect performance here.
My biggest regret is saying Phil Kessel for my second answer, even after the hint, because I forgot he led the team in playoff scoring that year.
He should have won the Conn Smythe Trophy over Crosby.
With 10 goals and 12 assists. Nick Bonino 414. Carl Hagelin 610.
He had 6 goals.
Yeah,
man.
So whenever you said 4 goals, I immediately took out the HBK line, but also put Nick Bonino back in my head because I thought he was the one that scored the least. But then I remembered the goal you mentioned. Plus, I think he did that at least one more time.
He scored in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals, the game winner, with 2 minutes left.
Yeah, so I was immediately like, okay, well, there's still that possibility of him having more than I'm not remembering.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the one I put back into my head. That's why I don't know why I said Phil Kessel. That was my big dumb mistake.
You just thought 2016 Kessel.
Well,
you did say who was on the team, and you were not wrong that Kessel was on the team. He just scored more than Nick Bonino did.
Right. How many? Crystal Tang also had 3 goals to 12 assists. So when my first
that was close.
Kind of close.
That was kind of close. I don't know. Tom Kuhnhackl. See, I don't know. I remember what he did. I know 2 and 3. Yeah, he clearly was not going to be the one that had 18 points. But that is the end of Name That Stat Line. The answers were Kevin Stevens from 1992, Evgeny Malkin's playoffs in 2009, which netted him the Conn Smythe Trophy, Mark Recchi in 1991, Jake Guentzel in 2017, and Nick Bonino in 2016. Let us know how you did. Did you go 5 for 5? Did you go 0 for 5? In which case you might want to brush up on your Penguins history. We should do this more often, or what?
Yeah, absolutely. Prove our knowledge a little bit.
Well, your knowledge. I just kind of sit back and play as the taskmaster. That's gonna do it for this episode of the Tip of the Ice-Burgh. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hopefully everybody is enjoying the Stanley Cup Finals as much as we are, but that's going to do it for this one. We'll see you guys next time. Have a great week, Penguins fans.